Well, hello there, motherfuckers. And I know I don't usually wear a hat for my videos, but it's really fucking cold outside. It's like one of the coldest days on record here in New York, or it's gonna be one. Don't really know. And I'm not really too sure I want to go outside. I might walk my dog later or something like that, but I really don't want to go out there. Anyway, I'm here to review Deadpool, and it's not the appropriate hat, but at least it's a Marvel hat. Anyway, but Deadpool was a to say it was a great movie would be an understatement. This was definitely a movie that I think needed to happen at some point in time, not just for superhero movies, but this just felt like a movie that didn't have any limitations. It was almost a parody on cliches and superhero movies and action movies. Um, this is a very versatile character. No, now I read my first Deadpool comic um, back in the '90s, and he was just pretty much a bland mercenary character. I always liked the suit and everything, and the fact that he was acrobatic and he had the guns and stuff. But really, how many different merc characters could you really have? Somewhere I don't know where it happened. They started reinventing the character, started adding more personality and depth to him, and then it just seemed like it just completely went off the rails, and Deadpool just became this character that was just like so original. I want to say it's hard to like really describe what he is. He's kind of like Spider-Man with the quips and the one-liners and the general sense of humor and mocking his opposition, but taken to a whole nother level, which is kind of coincidental in a way how they kind of have like you could say they have similar suits, with the complete face covering, and they're red and black. I guess that's what and they have had crossovers between the two, and that's probably why they're probably the two of the wittiest superheroes, or in Deadpool's case, how he puts it in the movie, he's not really a superhero. He's probably the furthest thing from it. He does fight bad guys, but as he put it, he's kind of like a bad guy that fights even worse guys. Um, and I guess that was a great way of putting it. In this movie, if you think like that line was good, you know what you're in for when during the opening credits, it's a complete parody. And they say like the director directed by a complete tool and stuff, and some overpaid shitheads. Like they just keep going with they say the English villain, instead of actually putting the names of the actors. And the thing was, when the credits first started like appearing, I didn't even really catch on to what they were doing, so I think I missed the first couple. But that was like, hey, wait, these aren't actually real credits. And from that point on, from the opening montage, I fucking knew that I was in for a wild ride, a really unique experience. Once again, that's really putting it mildly. That's putting it into the most moderate context I possibly can. It really, this movie was funny, funnier, and more original jokes and humor. Now you could say that the humor is juvenile to a point, and there's a lot of like cock talk and penis jokes and things like that. But when you put them into the context, we've never seen this before in a superhero movie. We've never heard these things, and when you put it all into the proper context in which it occurs in the film, it was really fun because I felt like it was unpredictable. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what line. We were dealing with the first R-rated Marvel movie ever. I think it was the first R-rated one, wasn't it? I believe it was, but it was the first. I think it was the first of its kind. I don't remember any other movie. There, I mean, there were f bombs in this. There was everything, and this is the best way to go. I mean, kind of when you think about it, maybe an R-rated Spider-Man movie might be going a little bit too far because maybe it doesn't really need that rating. But I feel like Deadpool with a character that has no limits. I feel like with a character that's so unpredictable that you don't know what he's gonna say next. Um, the R rating was perfect for this movie. That's why everybody was so outraged about coming out with an alternate PG-13 version of this film. That would just cheapen the whole experience. So this movie stands for basically freedom to direct as you will. There are so many different ideas going on in this film that they would have ended up on the cutting room floor. Probably three-quarters of this movie would have ended up on the fucking cutting room floor if it wasn't for that R rating. I mean, the R rating lets them get away with so much in this film. They're able to do so many different things in this movie. Jokes wise and other things. I mean, like there's nudity in this movie. And I'm not saying like, oh, let's praise this movie because it shows a little bit of fucking boob and shit like that. But that just adds to the whole experience that like this movie was just so raw and raunchy, and I really like the directing style. Basically, what the whole movie is about, we see that Deadpool. He's just a guy that's pretty much a merc from the beginning. He's a gun for hire, not really in the traditional sense, but anybody could pretty much, hire him, and he will help them out. And he's kind of like helping out the little man in a way. He gets diagnosed with cancer. Um, he starts, he's dating a hooker, and basically, somebody offers him a cure to his cancer. He wants some help from I'm not sure if they actually do end up getting married, but whatever it is, his girl, his wife, whatever it is, I don't think it was really explained. He actually ends up giving her a ring pop actually. And that's the type of things. I mean, this movie, there's so many fucking things that are just gonna make you hysterically laugh. I mean, that you're not going to expect. Because this is like a movie that doesn't play by the rules. But anyway, they give you the origin story, um, and he ends up getting his mutation forced, and he finds out that they're not there to help him. Just reach this mutation so he can get cured of his cancer, but they're actually going to sell him into slavery. Um, so that's kind of where Deadpool kind of takes off. After he kind of escapes the mutation facility, his mutation is forced, and he meets his arch nemesis there, Francis, or Ajax, or as he puts it, his real name is Francis. He just took Ajax from fucking dishwashing soap. Um, yeah, they like see these are like these jokes. They do not care how corny or cheesy or off the wall they come off as. Now, some people might not like this kind of humor, and they probably won't like the movie because of it. I'm sure there's some out there. I'm sure there's some people that are going to be like, this movie was overly vulgar. There was no need for coarse language like that. That's probably the reason why it was banned in China. But to everybody else, I'm pretty sure, just like myself, they're just happy to see this type of freedom in the dialogue, freedom in the script, freedom in the direction and production of this film. Just to hear lines, get approved like that in this movie, like they're not afraid. Like if people are just gonna like roll their eyes at it, who the fuck cares? This is a movie that I'm really happy that the director was able to make. This is a movie where you could really truly call your own. It didn't have to usually abide by all those usual, even lamer, cornier, and cheesier cliches. You always hear the same lines, playing it safe all the time. All these heroic lines we heard time and time again, in cliches time and time again. Though this movie actually, it doesn't dance around the relationship of Deadpool and his girlfriend, his wife, and everything. And like, oh, what are they doing behind closed doors? No, they actually have them fucking in the movie, and for once, I reached at least appreciated that. They actually show what's going on here. There's nothing really left to imagination. There's so many times where they just cheap out. And just not just in terms of the fucking sex, but just everything. They just cheap out and leave a lot of things up to the imagination. No, this movie takes imagination and actually puts it right there in front of you, like it should be. There's no room for what ifs and everything. This movie just shows you that, yeah, this is it. We have the fucking R rating. We can do what we want, and we're damn well gonna do what we want, and that's exactly what they did. And it has great action, great comedy. I like the way the movie is structured. We start off with with him already being Deadpool, and then you kind of go backwards a little bit with the origin story, and there's running gags in this movie. There's just everything. The movie just is this is like a movie that had it all pretty much. You really you have a little bit even of the X-Men. You have Colossus and the other girl who I'm not too fucking sure what her name is. But anyway, let me know in the comments. I'll probably wiki it before then. But anyway, the yeah, I was just very, very. I knew that this movie was going to be good. I already said it in my previous video that I was excited for this movie, and definitely that excitement was warranted. And the thing is, I think a lot of people know I'm not a person who really sets my expectations that high anymore. Yeah, I don't really get hyped up for a lot of movies. I kind of leave a little bit of margin for error, just in case the movie ends up sucking or bombing, or a lot of people get all pumped up for movies and excited. But I kind of had a good feeling about this. As soon as I saw that the movie was getting an R rating, and I remembered that when Daredevil got its MA fucking 17 rating, I believe it was, I knew that they were able to have the freedom to do as they pleased in that TV show, that Netflix show. So I knew that with that freedom to do as they please, I knew it was going to end up to be a pretty satisfying movie, and that's exactly what it was. Yeah, it was definitely satisfying in every sense of the word. I definitely give this movie a recommendation. Um, Also, what can I mention? Just the use of breaking the fourth wall, and even like, you could say that that's even been done before, but the way the movie goes about it, and it's just, yeah, it just really needs to be seen to be believed. I definitely recommend this to everybody, even fans of people that are not fans of Marvel or fans of Deadpool. This is definitely a movie that captures the character's essence. I'll say it that way. This movie definitely cannot be considered anything else but a real Deadpool movie. And this definitely rights the wrongs of Wolverine origins. When we saw Deadpool and he didn't even look like Deadpool, and yeah, this movie is definitely Deadpool. It's definitely good. It's definitely great. And it gets a full on recommendation.